All right, so Hollywood is officially on strike, and we have to talk about this disruption that is completely changing the game of media. And please believe this is coming for your industry too. So, in this quick 10-minute video, I'm going to explain what's happening, why it's important to you and your industry, and what you can do to avoid this incoming tidal wave. If you don't have 10 minutes to watch this video, then don't come at me in 3 years and say, hey, Mark, why don't you tell me? I'm telling you right now, you need to start taking action because this is coming for you in your industry. So let's get into what's happening and why it's important. So a few months ago, the Hollywood Writers Union went on strike. They're not getting paid enough. They're being overworked. A lot of the writers are being laid off. They're trying to figure out how to get around this. And now the Hollywood actors are jumping in, asking for more pay. They're citing AI and streaming services as two of the biggest reasons why this strike is happening. And quite frankly, this is a big problem for them. It's a huge problem for them. And I'll explain exactly why. This industry this disruption is so big. It reminds me of when Napster impacted the music business. And for all you old school people out there like myself who grew up with CDs and tape cassettes, I mean, it was really hard to find music. When Napster came out, all of a sudden I could download any music, any song instantly. It was incredible. A lot of musicians were ticked off about that. And the same kind of thing is happening here in media and Hollywood and movies. Now, there's a few problems with this strike. Actors and writers in Hollywood in general, whether you like it or not, they have this persona of being rich, of being privileged, of having lots of money. And, whether or not the average person is making that kind of money, that's kind of the persona. Like when I see Mark Ruffalo or Matt Damon complaining they're not getting paid enough or that the CEOs are getting paid too much, it just doesn't hit the same. I'm just kind of like, okay, Ruffalo, like, cool story, bro, but you're like a movie star. I'm working a blue collar job. It just doesn't really impact me in the same way. The other problem is that movie studios and media are very, very competitive, and competitive businesses are always trying to find a way to create more profit. They want to create a better product at a better price. And so with the actors coming in and really fighting them on this, it might actually end up accelerating their demise. The reality is that the vast majority of actors and actresses that are big now were not even known 5 years ago. Okay, so what's to stop the studio from saying, okay, we're not going to work with you. We're just going to bring on another really beautiful, really handsome person to take on that role. You're kind of like putting yourself in a dangerous situation. And when we look at the writers, if you're in a writing business, you should be very, very nervous. You should be very concerned. You need to start adapting now. In a couple minutes, I'm going to explain exactly what you can do and how you can start adapting. But you need to be very concerned. And I'll give you a perfect example of why. I had a guy that was writing show notes for my podcast agency, my production agency. And he said, hey, Mark, I'm going to college. I'm leaving next week. I said, oh, crap. What am I going to do? So historically, it was really hard to find great writers. It just is. And so what I did was I started writing them myself. So I was like, this is taking me freaking forever. I can't do this. So I started looking into AI. And AI allowed me to write the same stuff better, more consistently, and I was able to replicate what I was paying him. I was able to do 10 times as much as he was for a fraction of the cost. Then I was able to start bringing on team members and training them in these systems, and it just completely upended the industry on this small sample size. Now, you start looking at what AI is going to do for writing in Hollywood, in book writing, in movie writing. It's going to completely change everything. In a place where you might have used to need 20 writers to write a series, now you need 2 writers to write a series, enhancing their ideas with AI. That is happening. You cannot put the genie back in the bottle. And as I tell my kids, the more you whine about something, that doesn't necessarily fix the problem. You need to take control. I don't focus on what I can't control. I focus on what I can control. This is really important. And again, I'm going to give you some specific steps in just a moment. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the other problems that we're seeing in Hollywood and why there might not necessarily be as much money for these actors and writers. It used to be this fact that if you want to watch a movie, you would go to a movie theater to watch the movie. Now, the vast majority of people are just watching movies right from their house. Or I'll give you another example. Movie comes out 6 months later, it's out on video or it's out on DVD. Now, you watch the movie and then it seems like a month later, you're already watching that show on Netflix. So people are not going to the movies as often. They're not going to the movie theaters. And so you lose that bigger than life kind of vision of who these big actors and actresses are. Now they're just on the small screen in front of you. You could stream it immediately. It's really upended that. Another issue on the AI side of things is that B-roll is going to become way more easy to get. Instead of sending out a big camera crew and drones everywhere, you're going to be able to generate pretty stunning video just by using AI. And it's going to get better and better and better. In fact, I had a video about AI commercials already happening. I'll put a link up here so you can check that out because it is stunning and it's only getting better. AI deepfakes, AI actors are going to become way more easy to make. So think about historically when you're casting and you've got, let's say, dozens of background actors, now you might need one or maybe even zero background actors because AI and this accessibility of B-roll is going to make them very easy to insert in the background. You're not changing that. This is happening. This is happening. So, you are going to be replaced by AI to an extent. Again, I'm going to get to a way that you can survive this and navigate this here in just a moment. The other thing that we have to talk about is the disruption of politics, meaning that politics have now inserted themselves into every aspect of our lives. And Hollywood is no stranger to this. Now, you may agree or disagree with me on politics or a particular political topic. Okay, cool, that's fine. But you got to understand, and I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but when you start inserting your political ideas into all the movies that you're creating, you're alienating probably about 40 to 45% of the population. All right? However you feel about, transgenderism or BLM or climate or pro-life, pro-choice, however you feel about that, okay, mazel tov. Okay. The problem, though, is if you're cramming that down on people during movies, they're just going to stop watching those movies. And you're already seeing this take effect. Disney movies are not doing well in theaters. And you're seeing the rise of independent film studios like Angel Studios, who just produced The Sound of Freedom, which made over $50 million in its first week in the box office. And movies like that and studios like that are going to start popping up. So, as the more you get into politically charged conversations, you're leaving open the opportunity for others to get in the space. And historically, this wasn't the case. Hollywood had such a stranglehold on the movie theaters, on the videos and the distribution, but the distribution has been opened wide open. Okay. And this is a major disruption to the industry because now I can easily record and produce something on YouTube or on Rumble, and I can start to compete for those eyeballs. You're seeing this with podcasting and traditional radio, broadcasting. It's so much easier to distribute information now than it was before. Another massive disruption to the media machine that was Hollywood. While we're on the lines of this disruption, the biggest stars right now are not necessarily celebrities, Hollywood celebrities, but social media celebrities. Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, Charli D'Amelio. These people have exploded on social media, on YouTube, and they are now bigger than the normal celebrity. If I ask my kids, who's your favorite celebrity, who's your favorite actor or actress, whatever, they would say Mr. Beast. And this guy, all he does is make YouTube videos. Well, and sell chocolate candy, which is it's actually really good. Those Feastables are really good. But regardless, the biggest actors, the biggest celebrities are not necessarily being made on the big screen. They're being made on the small screen, on the phone. Again, non-deniable, this is happening, has happened, and will continue to happen. So we've got to be thinking, how can we stand out in this new world? So listen, you can be the old man on the porch, shaking your fist about these newfangled kids and their rap music. All right, cool, but it's not going to help you survive. So let's talk about some ways that you can survive this major, insanely prolific shift in the way that the world is going. Technology is changing everything. Streaming, distribution, AI, it's changing everything. So let's talk about some ways that you can survive this because this is coming for your career. It doesn't matter who you are, at what level, at what industry, it's going to impact every single person. So let's talk about how you can survive in this shift, in this disruptive time. All right, so we've talked about what's happening with Hollywood. We've talked about maybe what has caused it. And I want to talk a little bit about what you can do to make yourself protected, to survive what's happening in your industry, because every industry is going to be disrupted. Hollywood, certainly, but everywhere from McDonald's to Walmart to Hollywood will be impacted. So really what we want to do at its core is we want to find ways to make ourselves uniquely irreplaceable. Uniquely irreplaceable. And I think that the best way to do that is not by fighting the change that's coming, but by accepting the change that's coming and positioning yourself as an expert. Okay, so let's look at some ways that we can do that and how you can start to do that today. So firstly, you need to start building your online personal brand outside the machine of your current employer, because what is inevitably going to happen is someone is going to come along that's using AI, or AI is going to come along that's going to replace what you're doing. Radiologists, for example, huge exposure there. An AI can do what a radiologist is already doing what radiologists do much more, 50% more effectively. So why would I ever hire a radiologist when I can have AI find the tumors on an X-ray or on an MRI? The answer is you wouldn't. Or what you might do is you would hire somebody who has positioned themselves as an expert in utilizing the AI to find the tumors. Okay, so just start thinking about that. How can I not fight the AI? How can I not fight the technology, but how can I embrace it and position myself as an expert? And this is going to be tough because you're probably not an expert. You probably are a few years graduated. You don't want to go back to high school. You don't want to go back to reading books. You just want to kind of relax. This is not the time to relax. Okay, this is not the time to relax. This is the time to start learning and spending some time getting into it. And frankly, if you're watching this video, something tells me that you're going to have massive success, because that's exactly what I'm talking about on this channel. I'm talking about how you can learn more, be better, and survive the disruption. So how do you start to build yourself that persona? Well, first off, you need to start executing on it. Reading, listening to podcasts, listening to After Hours Entrepreneur. But you need to build your digital media presence. That means social media. You need to have a place where your short form social media stuff is living. You need to have a place where your long form content is living. My opinion is the best way to do that is with a podcast. The podcast gives you audio, it gives you video, it gives you transcriptions in written word. It is the engine for your entire media machine. That's what I focus on. I focus on helping you launch, automate, and grow that podcast machine. Again, my industry, the podcast industry, has been massively disruptive. I gave you an example earlier about how I'm using AI to write show notes. So everything is being massively disruptive. And the podcast is the best way to stay everywhere all at once, talking about what you are doing and what you are learning. And let's face it, you are not going to stand out. You are not going to be different if all you're doing is saying the same thing as everybody else is. So what you want to do is look at what I'm not the one here picketing and saying you took our jobs. I'm going to be the one over here saying, hey, Hollywood is dead. The traditional writing model is dead. I'm the guy that uses AI to write better stories. So forget hiring 10 writers, just hire me and I will be able to really, really write much better. Does that make sense to you? Stop saying what everybody else is saying. Find a unique take and go deep on it. Now, let's also be clear, you cannot afford to have an employer right now because the employers are going to be concerned about profits, just like I was. I don't want to hire one person to write one article. I want to hire one person who can write 10 articles in that same time. So you need to start building up some sort of side hustle. You need to find different layers of cash flow. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is to leverage the skills that you already have and the knowledge that you already have. If you're a writer, etc., if you're an actor, what are the unique ways you can help others be successful? And because you are the Pied Piper, because you're a thought leader, because you're embracing the change, you're not as vulnerable to the change. You're embracing the change. And by doing that, other people are going to want to embrace the change that you're leading on. You're not following other people. You're leading the way, and other people are coming along and saying, oh, wow, that's an interesting take. I need to embrace the AI for the writing, not fight the AI for the writing. Does that make sense? Please tell me that makes sense. Write it in the comments below, all you YouTubers, if that makes sense. Be the thought leader, go against the grain and lead the way, embrace the change and lead the way so others can follow behind you. That is going to lead to all sorts of unique opportunities It's going to make you uniquely irreplaceable. It's going to make you multidimensional. You're not just someone complaining about what's happening. You're embracing the change and leveraging it to be successful. And last but not least, you need to embrace humility and authenticity. Don't think that you're special. Don't think that no one can replace you. Please don't tell me that the young kids just don't get it. They are the ones that get it. You're the one that has no freaking clue what's happening. So now is the time. This is your wake-up call to embrace the change. Thanks for watching the video. Now go out and embrace the change and get yours. Peace.